Tonight, Amber Alert.
Several calls from citizens, a lot of tips.
An infant snatched from his mother. What happened and how police were able to rescue the child. Also tonight, a long road to recovery.
The state of emergency has now turned into a health and safety issue.
The problem still facing Pimicikamak Cree Nation and evacuees 2 months after a days-long power outage plunged the community into darkness. Plus,
a central location at the heart of North America.
What's in store for the Winnipeg airport as a massive new development takes flight.
CTV News. Live from downtown Winnipeg with Marilee Caruso.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. An Amber Alert lit up phones in Winnipeg this afternoon, asking the public to be on the lookout for a 2-year-old boy who had been abducted. Investigators say he was taken from a home in South Winnipeg around 10 this morning, allegedly by a 30-year-old woman. A 25-year-old woman was also said to be involved. And standing by live tonight with an update on that search is CTV's Jeff Keel. Jeff, you took in a police media conference this afternoon, and you have some good news to share.
Yeah, that's right, Marilee. Police have located the 2-year-old, and he is safe and was not injured. Police say he was found with one of the suspects, and we can tell you that both suspects are now in custody.
At around 1:30 p.m., police received a call regarding a woman and a child that matched the description of the suspect and the child. This call came from the area of McPhillip Street and Logan Avenue. Attending officers located one of the suspects and the child at that location. The suspect was taken into custody.
Police say the boy was checked out at hospital. Now, as we mentioned earlier, this all started around 10 this morning. Police say the 2-year-old boy was abducted by the suspect following a dispute with his biological mother. He was taken from the residence wrapped in a dark blue and light blue blanket. Police say they didn't know where they were going or what vehicle they had, which is why they issued the Amber Alert. They say the Amber Alert was instrumental in bringing this search to a close quickly.
We had several calls from citizens, a lot of tips that really helped narrow down the area. And again, it was a call from an individual in the area of McPhillips and Logan that did recognize the description of the child and the suspect.
Police say there are no charges yet, but there is an active investigation underway.
Jeff, we know the boy is safe, which is wonderful to hear, but how is his mother doing tonight?
Yeah, this is all hard to imagine if you're the mother of this child. Police say there was violence that had occurred between the suspect and the mother, and there was a weapon involved, but it's unclear at this time if the mom required medical care.
All right, thanks for this, Jeff. Let's bring in Colleen Brady now and get a first look at your Skywatch evening forecast, because those winds and some very cold weather is triggering all kinds of alerts tonight.
Of course, it was so windy here in southern Manitoba. We had peak wind gusts at the top of the hour at 11 o'clock in Winnipeg of 83 kilometers an hour. Some areas had even stronger wind gusts. Highways were closed for much of the day here in the Red River Valley. They've reopened, but nonetheless, we do still have weather alerts that remain in effect. Now, they're all yellow. I'm going to break them down as we go along, but basically the Red River Valley outside of the city of Winnipeg still under that blowing snow advisory. Winds will stay strong for a little while yet as we get into this evening. Now, Winnipeg north through the rest of the province and east into much of northwestern Ontario under a cold warning. It's going to get very cold tonight and through much of the weekend. Now, I don't mean to make light of severe weather, Marilee, but I do need to show you this. Now, Sandra sent this photo in today from Selkirk. Now, it looks like this outhouse took a bit of a joyride in those very strong wind gusts and landed right on that roadway near that municipal building in the city of Selkirk. You can see, too, even that door blew open. So hopefully no one was inside when that happened, but just something we thought we'd want to pass along. It could be worse, folks. You could have a worse day. Let's take a look right now at the CTV Live Odds, brought to you by Bathfit, our exclusive home of the PermaFit solution. In Winnipeg, still windy, but the gusts have subsided. Still 41 kilometer an hour winds coming from the north-northwest. It's minus 16 degrees with temperatures falling throughout the day. It feels like minus 26 with the wind chill. The pressure's rising, and the humidity right now, Marilee, is 70%.
Thanks, Colleen. Those winds and blowing snow, as you heard, caused all kinds of problems on Manitoba highways today. Take a look at this. This photo was sent to us by a viewer near Lockport. RCMP say several vehicles became stuck during near whiteout conditions this morning at the intersection of Highway 9 and 44. Another collision around the same time near Headingley Correctional Center involved about half a dozen vehicles. Some people from the incident near Headingley were taken to hospital, but it's not believed anyone was seriously injured. At last check, all of the highways that closed earlier today were reopened. However, many across southeastern Manitoba and the Interlake were listed as partly snow-covered. Hundreds of homes are still in need of repair tonight as the crisis in Pimicikamak Cree Nation continues. It's now been roughly 2 months since a Manitoba hydro outage initially left the community in darkness. Despite power being restored, thousands of members from Cross Lake are still out of their homes. With an update tonight, CTV's Joseph Bernacki joins us live. Joseph, you spoke to leadership today and even heard from some of the evacuees. Why are people not going back home?
Marilee, Chief David Monius says 237 homes are uninhabitable without extensive repairs. The chief says there is ongoing work focused on mold remediation and emergency repairs for roughly 900 homes, and it still could be weeks before remaining members can go back.
I had to leave my home, my job, my family.
Shelley Popanicus's life has been disrupted since January 3rd. That's when she had to evacuate her Pimicikamak home. It's been nearly 2 months away from her community, and it's taking a toll on her mental health.
This is my third evacuation. The first time was in the summer when the smoke, engulfed our community.
Everybody wants to go home. It's been a long journey here. It's very, very hard.
Jackson Osborne has been out of his home since January 14th. Osborne and Popanicus are just two of more than 2,000 evacuees waiting to return, and it still could be weeks before they can go home. Workers had to tear apart Popanicus's kitchen and bathroom to fight water damage and mold from the December 30th Manitoba hydro outage.
The state of emergency has now turned into a health and safety issue. And whether those people can come home or not is remains outstanding.
Chief David Monius wants Manitoba Hydro and the province to help fund the mold remediation and emergency repairs needed for roughly 900 homes. Asbestos has also been found, and the chief says 237 homes have been classified as uninhabitable.
I think to really come to the table and say, listen, we understand that you guys are in this situation as a result of the infrastructure failure of the Manitoba hydro lines, and we are willing to take responsibility.
On Friday, Premier Canoe was non-committal when asked if the province would be sending any additional funding to help the ongoing crisis.
We're one province. We all want to work together, and we were there through the, most challenging part of the emergency, but still want to see people get help to be able to go home.
In a statement to CTV News, Manitoba Hydro says it does not provide funding for building repairs. The Crown Corporation says they have built the electrical infrastructure to serve 2 temporary camps, which house outside contractors who are working on repairs in the community.
Joseph, what is Indigenous Services Canada saying about this then?
Marilee, we also reached out to ISC. They say they are providing financial support to Pimicikamak Cree Nation to address damage to houses. The statement goes on to say while they do not have funding authority to cover pre-existing issues, the department takes mold and asbestos concerns very seriously.
All right, thanks for this, Joseph. The number of measles cases in Manitoba continues to skyrocket. The province is reporting 139 confirmed cases for the first 3 weeks of February. The total for the year is now 215, compared to 319 for all of last year. Manitoba Health says the vast majority of cases involve people who are not vaccinated. Premier Wab Kinew says it's critical people get protected.
This is a very basic step. I know it's become politicized. Put the politics aside, just go talk to your family doctor. If this is somebody that you would listen to in terms of, you got a bump on your skin or you have a virus that you need to get some meds for or whatever it is, talk to them about the vaccination too.
The province has warned any large gatherings should be considered a potential exposure site. Anyone who develops symptoms or may have been exposed to the virus is urged to isolate at home and contact a healthcare provider. Another municipality is saying goodbye to the Capital Planning Region. The rural municipality of St. Clements unanimously voted to leave the planning group Tuesday. Now the region only has half of its original members, which is leading some to question its viability. CTV's Harrison Shin explains.
Another municipality is waving goodbye to the Winnipeg Metropolitan Region, also known as the Capital Planning Region, this time the rural municipality of St. Clements. The RM's Chief Administrative Officer Deepak Joshi says the council's unanimous vote on Tuesday was mainly to give flexibility to the incoming council after the municipal election in October.
They felt it was important that the new council would have the best opportunity to be able to make a decision on something of this nature, considering there are long-term commitments.
Joshi adds the existing plan hasn't been completed, and if the new council wants to leave the region after the municipal election, they would have had to wait for 8 years for the next review. The CPR, formally established in 2023 under the PCs, required municipalities to be a part of it. However,
the current provincial government made the decision to allow the municipalities to opt in or out. That is, what allowed them to again participate voluntarily. That sort of indicated the death knell of any sort of regional plan.
But the Premier says formal membership in the Winnipeg Metropolitan Region is not necessary for regional collaboration.
For me, more freedom, stronger Manitoba. We'll still find a way to do the big things together, but we have to do it by winning support and bringing people along.
And Joshi says the door remains open for future collaboration.
They are committed to continually working with other municipalities, regardless of being members of the Capital Planning Region or not.
Harrison Shin, CTV News, Winnipeg.
In a statement, the Winnipeg Metropolitan Region said in part, regional planning continues with the municipalities participating, and it's focused on supporting its member municipalities. An expansion of the Winnipeg Airport is expected to bring hundreds of jobs and add millions of dollars to the province's GDP. It's known as the Westlands development and encompasses 127 acres just west of the airport terminal and runways, and directly north of Saskatchewan Avenue. Now, the idea is to create more than 1 million square feet of commercial real estate for businesses that need runway adjacent land, such as for aerospace, defense, and manufacturing sectors. The Manitoba government announced today it's putting $5 million towards the first phase of development, which includes an extension of Moray Street, while Ottawa is pitching in $10 million.
This project will generate $940 million in GDP activity during construction and $270 million in recurring annual GDP activity once fully built.
The Winnipeg Airports Authority is also spending $17 million on the first phase of development, which has a price tag of around $32 million. Manitoba Hydro Place is ready to reopen its doors to the public more than 3 weeks after an employee was assaulted while leaving work. A spokesperson for the Crown Corporation says the plan is to reopen the gallery to the public Tuesday. Hydro has spent the past 3 weeks reviewing security measures and has hired 7 safety officers. Those officers will be working alongside existing security guards. They also alluded to additional safety measures that won't affect public areas. It comes after a worker was assaulted and knocked to the ground by a man with a knife. An 18-year-old man was arrested and charged. There's frustration and concern among Manitobans with ties to Cuba tonight as the humanitarian crisis there gets worse.
Everybody's sad, everybody's worried about their families, and that creates frustration.
Manitoba-Cuba Solidarity Committee member Roger Rancano moved to Winnipeg with his family in 2012, but he has other relatives who still live on the island. A U.S. oil blockade has caused weeks of electricity, fuel, and basic necessity shortages. Rancano spoke to someone in Cuba as recently as a few days ago and says the situation is dire.
There's no food, it's garbage in the streets, cannot be picked up. So all that is creating a very unhealthy situation for all the Cuban citizens.
Rancano says the local committee is discussing how it can help, but nothing has been formalized. Wednesday, the Canadian government said it's working with the World Food Program and UNICEF to send an additional $8 million to help those most in need on top of its existing support for Cuba. The Public Service is recommending a baseball diamond in LeBerrier Park stay as it is. In a motion before the Property and Development Committee, the Public Service says it doesn't support changing the lease for the South Baseball Diamond to allow it to be used as a full-sized cricket field. It says the diamond was booked 15 times for softball teams, and getting rid of it would reduce booking revenue and magnify softball service gaps in the area. Instead, it's recommending finding another space for a new cricket field. The committee will review the report Thursday. An old Wolseley area bus loop could be transformed into a community park. The Audrey Street Loop is no longer being used for transit operations. The Property and Development Committee is being asked to look into whether the land will be required for transit purposes in the future and how much it would cost to rezone it into green space and a dog park. The committee meeting is being held Thursday, March 5th. A St. Boniface area pool is getting a new name. City Council voted 12-3 Thursday to rename Bonnie Vitale Pool Dan Vandel Bonnie Vitale Pool. Russ Wyatt, Cindy Gilroy, and Emma Durand Wood voted against the motion. The name change is in honor of Dan Vandel, who served 5 terms as St. Boniface City Councillor before spending more than a decade as the area's MP. The change will be funded through the Riel Land Dedication Reserve Fund. Still to come tonight, in a historic first, former U.S. President Bill Clinton testifies before members of Congress over his connections to Jeffrey Epstein.
I know that we're committed to asking tough questions about that today.
What the former president had to say as Democrats push for high-profile Republicans, including Trump, to answer questions. Stay with us. The Canadian economy recorded its slowest growth since the pandemic. Stats Can reported the economy contracted 0.6% in the last quarter of 2025, falling short of expectations. It says the main reason was businesses selling off inventory. Turning to the markets now, crude oil added $1.81. The loonie jumped to 73.30 cents U.S. Gold futures closed more than $53 higher. The TSX lost 162 points. The Dow Jones plunged 521 points, while the Nasdaq dropped 210 points. Ottawa is warning Canadians to leave Iran while they can. A government advisory is telling Canadians to avoid all travel to Iran, saying hostilities in the region could resume with little or no warning. Canadians in Iran are being told to make sure their travel documents are up to date and to have essential supplies in case they need to shelter in place. Prime Minister Mark Carney is now in India on a major trade mission, but pressures continue to mount on the government to clarify whether it believes India is still carrying out foreign interference in Canada. CTV's Abigail Beeman is traveling with the Prime Minister and has more from Mumbai.
The Prime Minister is now here in Mumbai trying to pitch Canada as a stable and reliable trading partner for India. While many in Canada's Sikh community don't feel India is a reliable partner for them, half a dozen organizations came together to voice their opposition to a Canadian government official's comments suggesting India is no longer involved in violence on Canadian soil. The RCMP and former Prime Minister previously linked the Indian government to the murder of a Canadian Sikh activist, while a CSIS report labeled India a main perpetrator of foreign interference and espionage.
To tell communities who are continuing to live these realities that this connection somehow has magically disappeared is not reassuring. It is dishonest, it is insulting, and it is gaslighting at its highest level.
While CSIS, neither CSIS nor the RCMP would respond head-on to the new comments from a government official, not everyone in government agrees. At least one Liberal is denouncing the comments.
I strongly condemn these remarks made by the government official because the claim is very disconnected from the reality the community is facing on the ground, and also it contradicts with the assessments of Canada National Security and Law Enforcement Agency, including NSIA, the RCMP, and the CSIS.
We have not heard from Prime Minister Mark Carney about this issue since landing in India Friday afternoon, local time. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Mumbai.
Pakistan says it is now at war with Afghanistan. There has been shelling and airstrikes in what has been a dramatic escalation of tensions between the two countries. People in a border town in Pakistan were assessing the damage from an airstrike. The two countries have been exchanging fire since Sunday. In October, border clashes killed dozens of people. Pakistan accuses Afghanistan of harboring militant groups that stage cross-border attacks. Former President Bill Clinton was questioned by lawmakers today about his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. Yesterday, his wife Hillary Clinton was questioned for 6 hours. Perry Russom reports.
In his opening statements released online, former President Bill Clinton says he had a brief acquaintance with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein that ended years before Epstein's crimes came to light. The former president writing in part, as someone who grew up in a home with domestic abuse, not only would I not have flown on his plane if I had any inkling of what he was doing, I would have turned him in myself and led the call for justice for his crimes, not sweetheart deals. Clinton facing the Republican-led House Oversight Committee and its investigation into Epstein. The former president questioned a day after his wife, former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, was deposed.
Yesterday, Ms. Clinton deferred a lot of questions to her husband today. There were at least a dozen times when she said, "You'll have to ask my husband that. I can't answer that."
Democrats on the committee say they want to ask the former president about Epstein's finances, Epstein survivors, and any foreign intelligence.
President Clinton's sworn statement said that he had no knowledge of the crimes that were committed, and I know that we're committed to asking tough questions about that today.
Democrats today renewing their call to depose President Trump.
He appears in the Epstein files next to Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell almost more than anybody else.
Appearance in the files is not evidence of wrongdoing. President Trump has consistently denied all allegations of any wrongdoing in connection to Epstein or knowledge of Epstein's crimes.
I don't like seeing him deposed, but, you know, they certainly went after me a lot more than that. Look, I like him, and I don't like seeing him deposed.
It comes as the Department of Justice overnight restored a picture that appears to show Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick visiting Epstein's private island. A DOJ official says the picture was taken down in a batch of files that were flagged for nudity. There is no nudity in the picture. Lutnick has strongly denied any wrongdoing. Democrats again today calling for Lutnick to testify. Congressman James Comer says it's very possible. In his opening statement, former President Bill Clinton defended his wife, saying she had nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. Congressman James Comer says it's possible the recordings of the depositions could be released as soon as today. Perry Russom, ABC News, New York.
The investigation into the death of a worker at a Walmart bakery in Halifax a year and a half ago that made international headlines have found no safety violations were involved. The Nova Scotia government investigation was sparked by the death of a 19-year-old woman whose body was found in a walk-in bakery oven in October of 2024. The Labor Department says its investigation found the machine was in good working order, in addition to there being no safety violations or any broader concerns with that particular model of oven. The Maritime Sikh Society previously identified the woman and said she immigrated to Canada with her mother from India. A major overhaul today to NASA's plans to land on the moon. The agency has now added an additional flight before it will attempt a landing. The new NASA administrator says the original timeline isn't realistic.
This is the only way forward, and I'll say had similar conversations with all our stakeholders in Congress, and they're fully behind NASA in this approach. They know this is how NASA changed the world, and this is how NASA is going to do it again.
NASA will now add an additional flight in 2027 to carry out tests of new commercial landers in low Earth orbit, and then launch at least one lunar landing mission in 2028. The goal is to accelerate the pace of launches of its Space Launch System rocket while carrying out Artemis flights in steps, not attempting missions that rely on too many untested technologies or procedures. Meanwhile, Artemis 2, the flight that will carry Canadian Jeremy Hansen, is now expected to launch no earlier than April.
You shouldn't expect that to be because the polar bear is desperate.
It's International Polar Bear Day, and a new local study is adding to our understanding of the connection between humans and the majestic creatures. All that and more just ahead.
So the long-range forecast for Winnipeg starts with Sunday, which is also the first day of March, which is also the first day of meteorological spring. That's the months of March, April, and May. Now, it will miss the memo by a day. Take a look at this. Sunny, yes, a little cool for this time of year, -12, but then the temperature stays put Sunday night, swinging up to -1. On Monday, a mix of sun and cloud, -5, -6 through the midweek, mostly cloudy. There's a chance of flurries by the time we get to Thursday.
It's International Polar Bear Day, and tonight a new study is shedding light on the relationship between humans and polar bears. As CTV's Dan Unger shows you, it's explaining why the large animals are visiting our communities.
It's a special day for the polar bears at Assiniboine Park Zoo.
Today is International Polar Bear Day. So it's a day that was created by Polar Bears International.
Conservation Research Associate Casey Ryan says this lands at a time when polar bear mothers and cubs are in their dens.
We want to protect those habitats, the denning habitats. Cubs are really vulnerable, especially in the first few years. There's about 50% mortality for cubs.
This comes as a new study out of the universities of Manitoba and Saskatchewan is providing more details about the relationship between humans and polar bears.
Polar bears are not seeking out human infrastructure because they are starving. That's not something we're seeing.
For the past 11 years, a research team has tracked 580 polar bear visits to human infrastructure along Hudson's Bay using trail cameras. It found the number of visits depends more on the amount of sea ice there is and not how desperate the polar bears are for food.
This means that if you have a year with less sea ice, you're going to have more bears on shore for longer. You're going to be more likely to see these visits.
When people see that first polar bear, it's just a moment of awe.
Alex Capiro with Frontiers North Adventure, giving polar bear tours around Churchill, says with the declining polar bear populations, she hopes this day can bring more attention to conservation.
This is a critical time for polar bears. It's the most vulnerable stage of their life, and this day is all about raising awareness for that.
While back at the zoo with a weekend of activities planned for International Polar Bear Day, Ryan hopes visitors gain a new appreciation for the Arctic creatures.
We love the bears around Churchill and everything. People love to see them, so it's important to keep their habitat safe.
Danton Unger, CTV News, Winnipeg.
Assiniboine Park Zoo has all sorts of family events planned this weekend to mark International Polar Bear Day, including breakfast with the bears. You can find a full list of events on the zoo's website.
CTV Skywatch weather brought to you by South Beach Casino and Resort. Visit southbeachcasino.ca.
All right, the good news is the highways have reopened.
Yes.
The bad news is it's getting cold out there.
Yeah, now we had that push of mild air that came yesterday. That was courtesy of a low that was still well out west of us. Well, it came through, and then the trailing cold front is what triggered those strong winds to whip up today. And you can see how it wreaked havoc out on the roads there. Now, there is some improvement. The winds are still quite strong inside the city. Now, this just changed in the last few minutes. Now, several weather alerts are in effect both in Manitoba and east into northwestern Ontario. Now, under Environment Canada's new color-coded weather alert system, they're all in yellow. So I'm going to try to break them down for you like this. This is what just changed in the last few minutes. I had mentioned that the blowing snow advisory had continued for the Red River Valley, south of Winnipeg, and really sort of around Winnipeg. This is what's changed. So things are improving. Now, we just have this one area close to the international border there, including Emerson and Altona, still under that blowing snow advisory. That shouldn't last for too much longer. And then the north basin of Lake Winnipeg. Now, other areas, many more, under a cold warning. So as that low has departed, coming in behind is a bitterly cold Arctic air mass under an Arctic ridge of high pressure. So that will clear out the sky tonight, and that will allow temperatures to plummet and wind chill values to develop that will be very cold. Winnipeg at the southern edge there of the cold warning. So all areas a little further to the south will have wind chill values tonight that will feel as cold as -40, if not a little colder. Areas furthest north, wind chill values anywhere from -45 to -55 redeveloping tonight, and that will continue as we go into the weekend. That extreme cold warning continues east into parts of Ontario and then further south, northwestern Ontario there under a continued blowing snow advisory. So blowing snow will be continuing for later on into the evening. Some areas will actually see some falling snow as well, but for the most part it will be snow that will be blowing around in those very strong northwest winds. So this is what I'm talking about. Now that we have the low that's departed and it's taken the snow along with it, we have the sky that's cleared right out, and the temperatures are about to drop quite far for this time of year all across Manitoba. Overnight, not much change there. You can see this snow. It's really just going to miss Manitoba under the effect of that bitterly cold high pressure. Bright and sunny all throughout the day, but temperatures well below normal for the last day of February for our region. Overnight, we go into Sunday where some improvement, but still temperatures are quite cool for this time of year as we usher in the month of March somehow. Minus 26 tonight is our overnight low for Winnipeg. These northwest winds will start to ease up by mid-evening. They'll be actually considerably lighter most of the night. Light north winds tomorrow, mainly sunny, but with a high Saturday of just minus 19 degrees all throughout the day for the most part. It'll be quite cold in the morning, up around minus 27 or 26 or so, still around 8 a.m., getting to a high in the afternoon of minus 19. Clear and cold tonight across the northeast. Overnight lows in the mid-minus 30s. That's air temperature before you factor in the wind chill. Tomorrow, bright and sunny with highs minus 22 in most areas. Churchill colder, minus 26 degrees. Clear and cold tonight across the northwest. Similar overnight lows in the minus 35 to minus 36 degree range. Sunshine tomorrow. Temperatures in the minus 20s. In the southwest tonight, a few clouds, but as cold as minus 29 in Dauphin, minus 31 for Swan River, Dauphin, Neepawa, minus 24. Cloudy in Brandon tomorrow, minus 16 degrees. More sunshine for Dauphin, a mix of sun and cloud of minus 17. A little bit of light snow coming to an end this evening in Sprague. Otherwise, partly cloudy for Winnipeg. We drop to minus 7. Similar overnight lows outside the city, too. Sunshine or a mix of sun and cloud. Highs around minus 19. Light flurries coming to an end in northwestern Ontario, but blowing snow will continue tonight. Sunny around the region tomorrow with highs between minus 10 and minus 13. Now, it was quite blustery inside the city this morning. In particular, this photo is from Neil here in Winnipeg, out in St. James, and this is a great shot. Take a look at this. This is from Annie blowing snow along Highway 5 between Ochre River and Dauphin earlier today. Send us your photos to Winnipeg Weather at ctv.ca.
Montana's Brier gets underway tonight in St. John's, Newfoundland. Manitoba has 2 teams competing, but they won't be seeing any action until tomorrow. Both teams take the ice in the afternoon draw. Carberry's Braden Calvert is facing off against Alberta's Kevin Cooey after taking the provincial title earlier this month. And Matt Dunstone from Granite Curling Club is taking on the team from New Brunswick. Dunstone is a 2-time Brier finalist and was last year's runner-up behind Brad Jacobs. The Winnipeg Jets' push to get back into the playoff picture continues in Anaheim tonight, and it looks like Olympic gold medalist Connor Hellebuck will be back in the net against the Ducks.
You know, having him back, you know, he's that last line of defense, and obviously, you know, we know the history with him. He's, you know, he's an elite goaltender, and it gives us an extra sort of push of confidence back there.
The Jets stormed out of the break with a 3-2 overtime win in Vancouver Wednesday. Backup goalie Eric Comrie was solid in Hellebuck's absence, and forward Cole Perfetti buried his first OT winner of his career. Head coach Scott O'Neill says the Jets will need to be quick in transition against a high-scoring Duck squad.
They're one of the best teams in the league on the rush. They're real high when it comes to creating turnovers, especially in the offense, their offensive end. So we're going to have to be real good with our puck management. I think that you know, there's top end skill, but at the same time, you know, we've watched a couple of games. They will give up opportunities, so we just have to be real patient and do all the right things.
Jets forward Gus Nyquist will suit up in his 900th career NHL game tonight. Puck drop from Anaheim is slated for 9 Central.
The Hockey Report, brought to you by Santa Lucia Pizza. Check out the game day special.
All week, we've been hearing from folks either stuck in Mexico or facing enormous hurdles trying to get back home. After the break, I'm going to chat with an expert about what your rights are and what airlines are required to provide you in such circumstances. Stay with us. Manitobans stuck in Mexico are voicing their frustrations over the lack of communication and support from airlines. And as they wait for a return flight, costs are adding up as some are having to pay out of pocket for food and accommodations. So what are your rights in situations like this? Gabor Lukacs, the president of the Air Passengers' Rights, joins me now to set the record straight. Gabor, good to speak with you.
It's good to be with you.
I guess give us an idea of what the legal obligations airlines have to travelers stranded in Mexico right now.
The primary obligation in such a situation is to transport a passenger back to Canada on the next available flight. If the airline cannot find a seat on its own or partner's flight's next available flight that departs within 48 hours of the original departure time, the airline has to buy at its own dime a seat to the passenger on competitor airline's next available flight. And if that flight costs $5,000, let it be. The obligation is spelled out in black and white in their passenger protection regulations and in the Canada Gazette, which explains that this includes competitor.
You know, that's interesting you bring that up, because we have heard from some travelers who have told us their wait to get home has been so long they've went ahead and bought their own return plane ticket, but at a very inflated price. So under the rights of passengers, do these airlines have to reimburse them for those costs?
Definitely yes. The airlines may try to make up some kind of excuses for refusing to do so, but if I were caught in such a situation, I would send a demand to the airline that they pay those extra expenses incurred within 30 days. I would also seek meals and accommodation and lost wages under Article 19 of the Montreal Convention, because clearly the airline has failed to take all reasonable measures to mitigate the delay of passengers, and that triggers liability. So an airline cannot just sit on its hands and say, well, our next flight that we can put you on is in mid-March or early March, when it is late February, and there are flights of other airlines. If an airline does it, it triggers very significant liability under the Montreal Convention, way beyond what is actually in the APPR. So passengers in such situations should seek not only reimbursement of their out-of-pocket expenses for getting back to Canada, but also meals, accommodation, lost wages. And after 30 days of the airline having received your demand, on day 31, file small claims court papers. That is how you're going to get the airline to take you seriously.
Is there any sort of loophole, you know, given the circumstances of how this situation unfolded in Mexico, that allows airlines any leeway here? Because, you know, we're not seeing a lot of these things happen.
There is absolutely no loophole in this specific area insofar as the law is concerned. The problem is that the federal government is assisting the airlines to sabotage the law and not enforcing the law in any way. In a normal country, airlines should be facing millions of dollars in fines after what they have done. That's what would have happened under the Biden administration in the United States, when airlines were doing various misbehavior when it comes to passengers' rights. Unfortunately, in Canada of 2026, airlines feel, and rightly feel, that the law doesn't apply to them, that they are above the law, and that must change.
Could we see a class action lawsuit at the end of all this?
I would hope so. Certainly, WestJet has been facing some class action lawsuits in the past for its past misconducts. It is also facing a lawsuit for misrepresentation, deception of passengers in British Columbia, where already an interlocutory injunction has been issued last year against WestJet. So I hope that there will be more legal action taken against the airlines, but this is a matter that the federal government should have been dealing with. It's unfortunate that the courts have to be burdened with such matters. It's inevitable because the federal government is not actually upholding the law, but this is a governmental failure. It's a government failure, not simply an airline failure.
Well, Gabor, I want to thank you for bringing this to our attention tonight. It was great speaking with you.
Thank you very much for having me.
Forever chemicals, or PFAs, seem to be aging men faster in their 50s and early 60s, according to a new study from researchers in China. The study published today in the journal Frontiers in Aging found an association between PFA exposure and accelerated aging in men between the ages of 50 and 65. PFAs are known as forever chemicals due to the years it takes for them to break down in a person's body. Researchers say the data shows some association in women, but the findings were far more pronounced among middle-aged men. Earlier studies show women appear to eliminate certain PFAs faster than men due to pregnancy, breastfeeding, and menstrual blood loss. The Canadian Pediatric Society is recommending cholesterol screening for all children between the ages of 2 and 10. Experts say plaque buildup in the arteries, including cholesterol, starts in childhood and is a key driver of heart disease and stroke. They say about 1 in 300 people have high cholesterol caused by a genetic condition passed down through families, and universal screening with a blood test will allow doctors to identify the condition early. As some jurisdictions limit children's access to social media, Instagram is adding a new tool aimed at protecting teens who may be in need of some additional support. The social media app already has a number of options for parents to supervise teen accounts. And today, officials at Instagram announced plans to notify parents if their teen repeatedly tries to search for terms related to suicide or self-harm within a short period of time. Parent company Meta says it's working to implement similar alerts based on teens' conversations with artificial intelligence tools.
Medical Watch is brought to you by Manuke and Koster Denture Clinic.
A major update in Netflix's bid to acquire media giant Warner Brothers, plus a rundown of the many events taking place across Manitoba this weekend. Stay with us. Spotlight is next.
Spotlight, sponsored by the Casinos of Winnipeg, presenting Ravine. The legend continues.
You can experience the richness of Korean culture and ring in the new year this weekend with a traditional Korean Lunar New Year celebration.
It's about family and gratitude and like really the new beginnings. And growing up in Korea, it was always about families and a lot of laugh and fun. So we wanted to celebrate it together.
It's all happening tomorrow over at the Manitoba Museum. Doors open at 2 o'clock. You'll find traditional activities and games, calligraphy, booths with Korean merchandise, a K-beauty demonstration, and much more. A blend of traditional and contemporary performances and dancers will take the stage between 6 and 9, with a K-pop after party rounding out the evening. Tickets are available online. Well, here's your chance to add to your collection and support local children in need. The Children's Hospital Book Market is hosting a comic book sale Saturday at St. Vital Centre. It runs from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. You can expect to find a wide selection of comics, including plenty of titles from both the DC and Marvel universes. The money helps provide things like toys, crafts, music therapy, and books for children receiving treatment. Organizers note tomorrow's event is a sale only, but if you do have books you want to donate, you're welcome to drop them off at any Dufresne Furniture and Appliance store or WFPS station. Here's a look at some of the other events taking place in Manitoba this weekend. Les Miserables wraps up its run at Centennial Concert Hall on Sunday. Binscarth hosts its 5th annual Winterfest. Kenora has planned a winter weekend of wonder. Fort Dauphin Museum celebrates Métis culture with capotes and cocoa. The Assiniboine Park Zoo is hosting a polar bear weekend. The Manitoba Stick Curling Association hosts its provincial championships at the Beausejour Curling Club. And the Guns N' Hoses Charity Hockey Challenge pits Winnipeg Police against the Fire Paramedic Service, all for charity. You can find a full list of events this weekend on our website, ctvnewswinnipeg.ca. Neil Sedaka has died. He was the man behind some of the biggest hits in the late 1950s and 60s.
Think of all that we've been through.
In addition to Breaking Up Is Hard to Do, there was Calendar Girl, Happy Birthday Sweet 16, and many, many others. Sedaka went from a classical music prodigy to a songwriter to a teenage idol to a pop music fixture in a career that spanned 7 decades. He died today in Los Angeles. He was 86 years old. Netflix declined to raise its offer to buy Warner Brothers, clearing the way for Paramount Skydance to purchase the company. Netflix confirmed it will not match the new bid of $111 billion, saying it is no longer financially attractive. The move puts an end to a bidding war which began last year. Paramount Skydance and Warner Brothers could merge into a new company, which has the potential to shake up the media landscape in the U.S. Your Friday primetime lineup starts off with Happy's Place and Stumble at 7. Battle of the Generations follows at 8. And Boston Blues at 9. It's all right here tonight on CTV.
Here's the category you folks will be dealing with.
The answer is Jeopardy. The question, what game show mentioned Winnipeg last night and why?
Women's clothing provided by RW & Company. Salon services provided by S&T Spa Salon.
Minus 16 out there, just a few clouds in Winnipeg. Winds starting to ease up. Still, though, 27 kilometers an hour out of the north-northwest. The wind chill feels like minus 26. Now, Winnipeg is under an extreme cold warning at the southern end here, along with most of the rest of Manitoba. But actually, before it got cold, we got up to +2. Hours ago. We will not be getting back there just yet. Tonight down to minus 27, partly cloudy, minus 19 Saturday, minus 12 on Sunday to start off the month of March, up to -1 on Monday, -5, -6 through the midweek.
Thanks, Colleen. What is Winnipeg? Our city was featured prominently on last night's episode of Jeopardy in a Winnie the Pooh themed question.
Literary origins. Let's see what that's about. Here's the clue.
For Thursday's final Jeopardy, the contestants were asked, as a child, Christopher Robin loved feeding a London zoo animal whose former owner hailed from this city. Of course, the answer is Winnipeg. Although only one of the contestants knew the answer, our city has actually received a lot of attention from Jeopardy in recent months. You may have caught it back in July. Our Mayor Scott Gillingham was an answer on the popular game show.
Very cool.
That is very cool.
It is pretty neat, actually.
Yeah. Study your Winnipeg knowledge.
And then get on Jeopardy.
Buffs.
Yeah.
That does it for us tonight. Have a great evening and a safe weekend. We'll see you back here Monday.